It's always good when you hit the button and you get your internet connection is unstable. We'll see. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to your CPO 7 meeting. We have a couple interesting agenda topics here, but firstly, I just want to say welcome and thank you for all our supporting and awesome county staff. So thank you again. And we're going to lead off with a few announcements. We'll go around the room and let's get started. So I think usually we try and do updates here. I see we have somebody from TV Fire. Hello. Would you like some time to make an announcement?
I do, yeah. Thanks for letting me join you. So I'm Kim Hwan, Public Affairs Officer with TVFNR. I know you haven't seen a lot of us lately. We are trying to work out to where we're going to be able to start attending these. I think it was kind of one of those, we just assumed that maybe this COVID thing wouldn't last as long as it was going to end up happening. And so we haven't been able to attend and just do the video updates. But we do have big news that I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of, because when they get their ballots this November, they're actually going to see a bond measure on there. It's bond measure 34-308, and that's where voters are going to be asked to decide on whether TVFNR can issue $122 million worth of general obligation bonds for emergency services. And so just a quick blip of what that's going to cover is we've got apparatus that are nearing their end of life. And so that will help with those purchases over time. So that's fire engines, fire trucks, medical response rigs, units and things, any kind of command vehicles. And then it's also going to fund updates to 10 of 29 of our fire stations. And that includes seismic upgrades, security features, expansions, or living quarter modifications. We're going to rebuild the King City Fire Station in the same place that it's at. We did find that that was going to be our cheapest alternative, but that needs the seismic upgrades as well. We've got the Aloha Fire Station, many of you may know, it's off 209th and Blanton right now. And Washington County actually owns that entire property. That used to be where our North Operating Center was. But now that we're literally right up next to the boundary of Hillsborough Fire, who will eventually build a fire station in the South Hillsborough area that's being developed, we need to move that Aloha Fire Station in a little bit more into our area, just a better centrally located, based on response data that we've been analyzing, where right now we've purchased property at 185th and Pheasant for that one. So that will help pay for that. And then it will also help fund the first phase of updates that are needed to our training center that's out in Sherwood. And that's where all of our firefighters and paramedics go to learn all sorts of skills, from fire suppression to emergency medical response, technical rescue, hazmat, any of that stuff. And then it will also help pay for future land in areas where we expect growth to occur. So as that is, so right now we actually have an existing bond. It passed in 2006, and it's at 14 cents per thousand of the assessed tax value. So not your market value, but that assessed tax value. And so those are declining. And so this is actually coming in, and we can't call it a renewal or replacement because that's just not how bonds work, but it's coming in at that same rate. So there's not an increase to taxpayers with this. It will essentially be taking its place, and then it will start a new set of bonds that we'd be able to levy. So, and then if it doesn't happen, then everything that I listed off just would have to get tabled. So if anyone has any questions for me, I just wanted to make sure people were informed and aware of that popping up. And it looks like I have a question in the chat.
Yeah, it looks like you got one.
Okay, so it says, would you share how much of the TVFNR budget is allocated through the county budget versus how much comes from bonds? Is there a way to change legislation so we don't have to vote on bonds every election to get the resources you need? So it's interesting enough. So the last time we actually went for a bond was in 2006. And so we do have that general property tax base that does come from Washington County, which everyone does pay those property taxes, obviously, that they see. And that's about, I believe it is 93% of our funding is that. And then we also have our local option levy, which is a percentage of that. And then the bonds are actually a pretty small percentage of it. It's not uncommon though for agencies to go after bonds like this, especially when you've gone for an extended period of time of not updating your stations or equipment or things like that, but also just with trying to keep up with the demands of the population growth. And so as far as, is there a way to change legislation so we don't have to vote on bonds? That's an interesting one too. So that legislation, so it used to be that you could actually roll in, and I know a lot of you are actually familiar with MSTIP, the Major Streets Transportation Improvement Program that funds a lot of your road projects. I used to work for Washington County, so I'm pretty familiar with this one, but it's a good example of how that ended up being rolled into the general tax that would be distributed out to land use and transportation for those, whereas before it was a bond and it had to pass on a regular basis. And so they changed that with legislation, but in a way it's to protect taxpayers. So even like myself, you don't want agencies to just go and say, I need $122 million and you're going to give it to me. We need to make sure, it should be, especially when it's a certain percentage of an incremental increase in adding to your budget. That's why that legislation is in place. So while I understand, it's exhausting when you see us on ballot measures with levies and then bonds and then trying to understand it all. But I'm a taxpayer myself. I actually pay, Washington County taxes and TVF&R. I'm actually in CPO 7's area. I own a house up in the Bethany Rock Creek area, or south of PCC Rock Creek. And so, I'm grateful for it, because I think you need to be able to specify exactly what it is that you're going to be purchasing too, which is something specific to bonds as well. So it's the accountability piece. To make sure, and you also worry, you don't want an agency going after money that's an agency that you feel is corrupt or, not doing something right or whatnot. So I hope that answers your question, Nisha. That was a really long answer.
Mary, you have your hand up.
I do. So Kim, you actually already answered this question for me, but I think it's something that our membership might be really interested in, is knowing that there is a empty TVF&R parcel, undeveloped parcel in North Bethany. Any information on when we can expect an improvement with a fire station on that site?
Yeah. So, and it's obviously always on our radar. So what we do is we want to look at data to see if it's feasible to even build a station. And we obviously, it's kind of like what South Hillsborough is doing, with the pre-planning process. When you can get in and you can purchase that property and a general idea of what that population is going to look like in that area, that's where obviously you want to have those amenities ahead of time and find that land ahead of time, especially at a much cheaper price than when you get it once it starts developing. As we know, the lots up there are very expensive. And so we did buy that way in advance of when we're going to build it. But we also don't want to go and spend millions of dollars to build a fire station where you're just going to have people just sitting there doing nothing. And so the Bethany fire station off of Evergreen, it keeps busy. The Rock Creek station definitely keeps busy, very busy. So we're definitely keeping tabs on that and constantly running data. We have the most amazing data analysts that are, they're scrubbing this data all the time to look and see not only where we should site future stations, but when do we pull that trigger to build that fire station? And as it is right now with the call volume, even with all the development that's going on up there, we just haven't reached that breaking point. And so it's not, we're not ready to go and build something there. We will hold on to that land. I can't imagine us getting rid of that land, but, thankfully we purchased it at a very inexpensive rate as well. So
definitely not part of this bond measure.
Correct. It is not part of this bond measure.
Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, I see we have Peter from THPRD. Would you like to give an update?
Yes, thank you. I have several things for everybody this evening. So first, THPRD is hiring. There are lots of part-time and seasonal opportunities. So please visit our website to learn more about those. Also, I'm very proud to announce that THPRD was honored with 2 national awards, but from the International Association for Public Participation for the district's 2020 visioning process, the Vision Action Plan, which you can find on our website. But we'll be representing the United States in the international competition later this month. So that's pretty exciting. We're also working on some talking walls, which is a mural project in collaboration with Color Outside the Lines and the Five Oaks Museum. We've invited Latinx artists and youth to participate in a mural series at the Tualatin Hills Aquatic Center, celebrating Latinx culture. And the murals are supported by grants from the Reeser Family Foundation and the Oregon Cultural Trust. Thank you to them. We're always looking for individual volunteers to do one-day events. So please sign up through our website if you're interested in doing that. We've got several Halloween activities coming up. Staff are working with the City of Beaverton Experience Theater Project and Dragon Theater on 2 Halloween events, a Halloween Silly Walk and Dance Party at the Conestoga Rec and Aquatic Center on Saturday, October 16th from 4 to 6:30 p.m. and a Halloween Spooky Trail Walk at Fir Grove Park on Saturday, October 23rd from 4 to 7 p.m. We've also got news on basketball leagues. 5th grade and middle school and high school basketball leagues are open for registration as of October 4th, and the leagues are very popular. So if you're interested in participating in those, please go to our website and sign up. We're happy that the LC Stir Center reopened on September 13th, and fitness classes, the weight room are all available. So if you are interested in visiting, please do. We have a senior giving campaign that's currently going on. We're hosting a senior giving campaign. Community members are asked to consider making a donation for a monthly pass to help seniors enjoy the LC Stir Center. So if you'd like to make a donation, please visit the Tualatin Hills Foundation website at www.thpf.org. Got a few maintenance things coming up. We're working on replacing athletic field lights at the HMT complex and the Sunset Sports Complex this month. Also, staff recently completed a drainage project at Commonwealth Lake Park to reduce flooding near the playground. And then finally, we're actively working on expanding affordable childcare. We have limited space available at our Garden Home Rec Center childcare site, but we're working with Beaverton School District and other community partners to try to sort out additional childcare opportunities. So please keep posted if that's something that is a need for you. And that is it. Thank you. Any questions?
I don't see anything. Thank you. Appreciate the update, Peter. And lightning round here. The Sheriff's Office, would you like to give an update as well?
We sure would. Thank you, Andrew. So let's see, last month I got to tell everybody about the 9 p.m. routine because, you know, our days are getting shorter. And we are seeing property crimes in the area. So we always want to tell people to take your valuables out of your car, lock up your car, your shed, your garage, your house, and turn on the lights in the evening. That actually will go quite a long ways to making your home and property a little bit safer. What I want to add to that tonight is a suggestion. You know, when you see a crime, we want to hear from you. We want you to call 911. I know we get a lot of bleed over of news. Some of us have Portland addresses and we keep hearing about long wait times and things like that in Portland. When you call us, you're calling the Washington County Sheriff's Office. We are able to give you pretty rapid attention. There are a few times here and there we're overwhelmed, but you're not going to have the stressed out, overwhelming waits because we are here serving you. When you call, you will reach us. So we want you to call. And then if you see those things that make you say, they're odd things, they're suspicious things, they're something doesn't look right here and I don't know what it is, we want you to call our non-emergency number. And my suggestion this evening is, why not go ahead and program that into your cell phone? Because off the top of your head, you probably won't remember what that non-emergency number is. So in a minute, when I get back to typing on the chat, I'm going to put the non-emergency number out there and just suggest, just add it to your cell phone. So when you need it, you have it right there. I have, before I pass it over for a look at our local calls for service map, I have one request of everybody. We have been doing a survey, and sometimes people think surveys are not really that important. This one actually is to us. It really helps us gauge how we're doing. I'm going to put, I cut and paste that in advance. I'm going to put it right there in the chat. I think if you right click, you can tell it to open in another tab, so that when you finish with the CPO meeting, go ahead and fill it out for us. We really need your input. Tell us what we're doing a good job at. Tell us where we need to get better. We really take to heart what you tell us. And this is an important survey. We're still wanting more participants, and all of you are very welcome. We want to hear from you on this. With that, I am going to share our calls for service map. Takes me a second to get it up here, so let me get this going. And then I will pass the microphone over to Lieutenant Rawlinson, who is with us this evening. Lieutenant?
Hello. I hope you guys can hear me okay. They gave us new computers and the microphones are not good, so I'm trying to use my phone headset to speak to you. I just want to touch on a couple of things. It's kind of tag team off of what the other group said. The fire folks were talking about the Blanton building. So you all know the sheriff's office, basically Washington County took control of that property, and that is eventually going to be our patrol headquarters. So we'll still have the Bethany precinct up where you guys are at, but most of our patrol operations will end up moving to that location on Blanton, and including detectives and some things. They're still in the like architectural phases of that because the fire folks are just now kind of clearing out of there, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. It does need some major remodeling, but we're going to move out of our headquarters at East probably, and a lot of our patrol folks that are out at the sheriff's office in Hillsborough will be much more centrally located to the county in Aloha. And we're frankly just kind of bursting at the seams. We've been in that building since 1998 at the main office in Hillsborough. We've grown as the population in the county has grown. So we need some more space. So that's kind of our long-term plan. That's still a few years off, I think. And then a fellow from the Parks Department was talking about how they're hiring. And I would just like to remind people, we are also hiring. We've been seeing a pretty good staffing I don't want to say shortage. I wouldn't call it quite that bad, but we need good people that want to come and help do some good work. And so if you know people who are interested in our profession, I think the website is Hire WCSO, or if you go to the Washington County Sheriff's Office website, there's a link to our recruitment page, and tons of people will be willing to answer questions. I can talk to anybody that might be interested if you want to send someone my way to answer questions. I've been there quite a while, so I'm pretty familiar with how we're doing things. And I would tell you, despite all the things that have been going on about our profession over the last few years, I'm super proud to work where I do, and it's a good organization and a good employer. And so, if you know, it's not. If you know someone who's got the right makeup, you think, to do this work, please send them our way, because we're always looking for folks. And it's a tough but rewarding career, I will say that. So I don't really have anything to share, particularly on the map. I think if you look at a lot of those dots, they're for thefts, and a vast majority of them are actually down in the Tanasbourne sort of shopping areas where you'd expect. So it's probably shopliftings and car clouts and things like that. But you see a few in the apartment complex there, just north of Highway 26 off of 185th. Not a ton for an apartment complex that size, but we do often get car break-ins at apartment complexes. And like Brenda mentioned earlier, a lot of times that's because people are leaving valuables in their car or not locking the door. There used to be a time where almost every car break-in we did, there was glass on the ground, but that's very rarely the case now. It's almost always somebody going ahead, checking doors, and someone following up and taking the stuff out of the car. Make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're closing your garage doors. And then package theft is going to go up as we get closer to the holidays. So if you have like a Ring camera, say, and you get video of someone on your porch, we'd want that too. Maybe we can help someone get their valuables back. So never be afraid to call us. You're never bugging us. We always want to help you out, and the deputies are always happy to talk to you and answer questions if you have them. So never feel like you're bothering us, and we're always going to respond to things as we can. So that's all I have. Unless there's questions, I can't see the chat thing. But...
All right. Yeah, we got one hand raised. Sarah, you should be able to unmute and talk if you'd like to ask.
Hi there. Yeah, this hasn't, I live in Bethany Creek Falls, and there have been some posts recently, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware. There've been a couple of smashed windows on cars, and there was some vandalism to our parks, to the equipment at our playgrounds and things, I think over the past weekend. So graffiti and those kind of things. So yeah, just a little push to, if you want to patrol, put up an extra patrol or drive through or whatever, I'm sure the neighborhood would appreciate it.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. It helps us to catch people if folks call right away, because we can get some evidence off the cars. But if we know we're having a problem in a park, whatever, oftentimes that's juveniles doing that stuff. So we'll work it and see if we can get some extra patrol up there. Another thing I've heard about a bit up there in Bethany is houseless folks. And so I've been asking around with the deputies, and we're not really seeing much of that up in your neck of the woods. Occasionally we'll have someone in a car on the side of the road, but they don't stay very long. And there was rumors of a homeless encampment by an old Holly farm on Cornell Road, but that's not the case. That looks like that was another place where kids were drinking a lot of beer by the pond. There's a couple really old tents, but no evidence of homeless people. I went walking through there a couple weeks ago. So thank you for that. I'll pass it on to the guys out working at night.
Yeah, thank you. I think our neighborhood association has the neighborhood watch going. So I just kind of wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that they had been in touch with you about it, just so that we all are on the same page with it. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. I don't see any other hands. Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate the update. Let's see. Any other community announcements? Any other announcements in general?
So Andrew,
Yes.
I'd like to point out that Washington County Land Use and Transportation currently has a virtual open house that is running now through I believe the 17th of the month on Springville Road improvements. So that last segment from PCC to I believe it's Joss. So it's early in the process. So it's really important that people plug into that. The email that went out today about this meeting, the meeting reminder actually has a link on it. And there's also a link on our Facebook page. And if I were more talented, I probably could put a link in the chat, but that's kind of beyond my technical skills. So reach out to us if you can't find it.
Awesome. Okay. And we can work on getting that. Good. Anyone else? If not, we'll roll into our main topic. All right. Baby approved. Let's see. So we had our main topic as the potential gas station at the corner of 185th and West Union there. So let's see. So Mary, should I share the plan essentially as a starting point, you think?
You know, I think sharing the plan is a good idea. We also have Bob Barman, who is the property owner, on the call, and he's asked to have 5 minutes to talk about his plan, and he will stay on the call to answer questions. So if anybody has questions for him, I think one of the things I'd like to explain is that it's fairly early in the process still. The application has been submitted to the county. Staff will review the application and they will prepare what's called a staff report. And the staff report will be available 1 week before the public hearing is scheduled, or 1 week before the public hearing actually occurs. As far as I know, the public hearing has not yet been scheduled. We're anticipating that it may happen in November, on November, and I wrote it down somewhere, but of course my piece of paper is not here. November 18th, I believe. Yeah, November 18th. The county holds a public hearing once a month. And so if it happens in November, it will be November 18th. Anybody living within 500 feet of the site will get notification. We will provide notification on our Facebook page. And, you know, hopefully word of mouth will get the information out there. You can also check the county website for information, but sometimes that's a bit dense to try and find the information you're looking for. Again, you know, reach out to the CPO if you have questions. Our email address is cpoleaders@gmail.com, and hopefully we'll respond in a timely fashion. The application, it's been submitted, and the county will review it for compliance with county code. If it complies with county code, the county has no choice other than to approve the application. What we can hope for at this point is that the application can be modified to minimize the impacts to our neighborhood. And you know, again, if the application complies with code, there really isn't anything the county can do to stop it. They you know, just because we don't like it doesn't mean that we can you know, that the county can object to it. The property owner owns the property. It's his right to develop it in a fashion that he likes. So we need to promote Bob, Mr. Barman.
That seems like a good way to lead off. So yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not seeing him. Did somebody promote him?
I just hit to promote, so he should be
Oh,
coming
okay.
up here. It
Okay.
triggers a
Okay.
little rejoin thing. So
Okay.
Am
yeah,
I here?
that sounds like
Hello?
a good way to lead off. Is that
Yes, you
Bob?
are.
Oh, you can hear me.
There you are.
Okay,
You're
I
live.
am not Mr. Technology. So I have
You made
I
it.
have a little clock in front of me because my wife says I'm long-winded, so I want to time myself. So here, start. Okay. Hi, I'm Bob Barman, and my wife Katie and I have been Washington County business owners since 1986. We started off owning the Canyon 76 on Canyon Road, right by the 217 freeway. And we own the Cornelius Car Wash out in Cornelius since 1991, and Murray and Allen Chevron in 1993. We also own a Woodburn Chevron. And where we sort of had an epiphany was I live in Lake Oswego. And if you're familiar with Lake Oswego or the Tualatin River, you know that for years it was just a bunch of green mush water, especially in the summer. So I sat on a committee for over 10 years, from about 1990 to 2000, not knowing much about environmental issues, and became very well aware that if we didn't take care of runoff, if we didn't start doing serious ecological improvements, there would be no improvement in the watershed, whether it's the Tualatin River, Hegg Lake, Columbia River, or, you know, just the normal streets. And so I worked with a guy by the name of Mark Rosenkrantz, and I said, you know, Mark, I can either be part of the solution or part of the problem in Washington County. And so we decided at that point that we were going to be the first full eco business, period. And yes, we are going to be a gas station. What did that mean? That meant that we were going to look at our business from an environmental standpoint before it was fancy. This is in 2009. We built in 2011, and look at everything that we could do to have a small footprint. And so that started off with things like a solar panels to be as close to net zero the siding of the building, putting the building facing the sun so that we didn't have a big solar use, doing things like putting an eco roof so that water would 30 to or thousands and thousands of gallons would not go down into the storm system, doing things like geothermal heating and cooling, which I knew nothing of. We heat and cool our building using the water in the ground and return it, and therefore our energy consumption is down well over 50%. Things like biodiesel from local businesses, having EV charging stations, which is sort of some people thought odd. I didn't think it's odd at all. We need all kinds of energy, and minimizing hardscapes and maximizing landscapes. And so we promoted that at our Woodburn station, won many national awards, including from the Turner Foundation. We've been recognized in Portland, Washington County. We're very proud of that. So we did the same thing in Woodburn. We're the gateway business there. We have over 200 solar panels, and we're almost net zero, except in the summer, we're not so net zero. And right at December when it's the least sunny, but our energy consumption's way down. So that's what we hope to bring over here to 185th. We also are doing things like we've had college classes at our school, at our store, high school classes at our store, because it's things that we're doing that other businesses should do. I'm sort of sad that other businesses have not been as eco-friendly. You can drive or fly in, you'll see flat roofs, or you'll see lots of asphalt, or you'll see minimum, very little geothermal. And we all have to do that. And it's not just my business, it's all businesses. So we're very proud to be leaders in this field. And we look forward to being great stewards at 185th and West Union. And with that, I did it in 4 minutes and 39 seconds. So I feel pretty good.
Nice
That's
time
a
control. There you go.
pretty good, quick rundown.
Very good. Okay. So I'm showing, I think the drawing of the site here. There's West Union. I think 185th comes up straight up and down here, correct? Yeah. Mary, would it make sense to go into a Q&A?
Yeah, I think that's really what the purpose of this meeting is
Go for
hopefully to answer people's questions.
Well, very good. If you have a question or you'd like to make a statement, may raise your hand, and I'm hot on the button here.
There's actually a question here about what the plans are for employees. Are you going to pay employees at least $20 an hour living wage?
You know what? I think our employment record speaks for itself. And I'll illustrate it this way. Our manager, Gil Gutierrez, has been with us since 1993 when we first opened. He's still our manager. Danny Draper, our general manager, has been with us for 28 years since he first started. Tom Veal has been our manager in Woodburn since 1995. And his brother, Tim, just retired with us in January. And his brother has been with us, Larry retired. Our Roger, our lead attendant at Murray Now, has been with us since 1986. Now, why do they stay with us? Because we have an incredible management team, and we're an incredible family business, and we're proud of everything we do. Do we pay minimum wage? No, we pay more than minimum wage. We've been covering managers' healthcare costs since 1986 when it wasn't sexy, profit sharing when it wasn't sexy. We're here to be great stewards. And you can go ask any one of our managers or any one of our employees. We're very proud of who we are, and we've earned the right to be proud of who we are.
Awesome. I'm going to try and get to the hands first. The chat will come in, I assume. I did see Jody's hand go up first, I believe. So Jody, you're on. You can unmute.
So you talked about wanting a small footprint, but you have a very large convenience store in terms of square feet and a lot of gas pumps in this design. And so you put an eco roof and solar panels on it, but it's still really using the, putting a big facility there. And I also wonder where would you have the electric charging station of this?
Okay, first of all, if I had my way, I would put the canopy over the entire property, because the canopy is what allows us to have the eco roof. The canopy allows us to have the solar panels. And the same thing with the building that you're looking at. Every inch of that building will either have sod on it, or it's called sedum, or it will have solar panels where it doesn't have sedum. Now, one of the other interesting things, you need to have solar panels, just don't sit on a roof. You need to have a solar room that actually runs and controls them. So that takes up part of the space. Also, geothermal heating and cooling, where you take ground source water so that you're not on the grid and you're returning to the grid, takes up space. Also, if you look to the right, all of that property over there is being put into natural scape. The lands, all to where you see the West Union, all of that significant. We have minimized on this property the amount of hardscape. Now, as far as pumps go, you see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pumps. That's much less than the industry standard today. Even a small station, let's say the one that was at 185th and 185th and 26 had 4 of those. We have 5. So I think I've answered the question as best I can.
And charging stations?
Excuse me? Oh, the charging stations are up front. We always put them up front. So where you see the word convenience store, we'll have two fast charging stations meant for it. It's not meant for someone to be there 8 hours. It's meant for someone to top off. We don't mind if they top off while they're in the store. And that's the intent, is for them to. And actually, it's sort of interesting. Our charging stations at both Murray and Allen and Woodburn are actually used fairly frequently. We have always charged nothing until we ran into a problem where several people were just parking there all day, and we just can't have them park because it's not fair to someone else trying to get in there. You can't park there and, let's say, go to work. So we've had a minimal charge, like 50 cents or something. But down in Woodburn, we have charging for 4 cars. In Beaverton, we have charging for 2. We're going to start off here with charging for 2, but if the demand's there, we'll put in more charging stations.
Awesome. I'll try and get everybody in here. I think I saw Tom next. Tom, you're on.
Hi, if this plan is approved, we'll be close neighbors. I will actually see your station from my living room window. And my biggest concern is what's going on with the south and west corners of the south and west sides of the property. How close to 185th is the building going to be located? There's currently some kind of a wetland deal that I think processes some of the groundwater from the Albertsons parking lot. Does this plan eliminate that, or does your property start after that little swale or whatever it's called that's in there?
Okay, well, first, hello, neighbor. I want to make sure I understand where you are. Are you on 185th across the street in those homes?
Yes, I'm in Rock Creek, so along the green belt that's next to Bethany Pond. So yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea about what Albertsons is doing on theirs. I know that we're maintaining everything on our property.
Yeah.
We're not.
So again, currently there's as I say, there's a swale or something. When they improved that property, they added that in, and so there's an area that processes stormwater or groundwater before it goes into the Bethany Lake, which is right behind my house. So I'm just curious, does your plan eliminate that swale?
No,
Are
no,
you hard up against 185th, or is there a buffer?
No, there is a buffer between us and 185th. If you look at the back of the convenience store, I want to say that swale is still there. I want to say it's like 15 to 20 feet. Yeah, there.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, that is there.
Okay.
Hopefully I'm
So
mousing
we're
at the
back
right
there.
things here.
Yep,
I'm just
sorry.
attempting.
And in fact, we worked with them a year ago so that they could upgrade it. They came on, I don't know if you noticed, but they came onto the property before the restaurant was taken down. And when the restaurant was taken down, it allowed them to get in there and actually do some great improvement. So all of that is staying there. There'll be a fence back there that we're putting, I believe a fence, like a 5-foot fence, just so that it's not, and then there's going to be plantings like climbing hydrangeas on the back of that building, so that it'll be flowered, so that the entire back of the building will have climbing hydrangeas there. And then,
So that
and
lines
then
up back
just
here.
you go back to the other thing on that.
Sure.
The convenience store is also going to be 2 stories, and part of the 2 stories is to we can put a lot of the stuff up top, like the solar panels. I mean, that stuff takes a lot of room, folks. It's probably well over 100 to 120 feet. The geothermal takes another, I don't know, 100 plus feet. These are big pieces of equipment.
Well, I remember your original plan, you were asking for more square footage and they weren't going to allow it, and you didn't think that was going to be able to be profitable for you to have a smaller footprint there. So adding a second story, I guess, makes that possible.
Well, the second floor counts towards square footage, but what we're doing up there is we're storing a lot of the stuff, the infrastructure that it has to be stored somewhere.
Right.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay. I see Barbara and then Jeff. Barbara, you are on, hopefully.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, we got you.
Okay, thank you for having me on. And my big concern is the way the county has taken care of this wetland and built up a nice pond. Right behind Reindeer Drive, and a lot of ducks and a lot of fowl. And so I'm real concerned about what the impact is going to be with any kind of leakage. I mean, I could see if this was built maybe over there on the other side of West Union, where maybe like Albertsons is at, further away from the wetland. And so my concern is, because I'm not seeing it on this drawing, where the filling tanks are actually going to be at. I mean, what's your thoughts on what would happen if there was a leak? How are you gonna being eco-friendly with everything that you've got going on with your structure? I'm concerned about leaks.
I'm glad you asked. Nothing is more important to me than, or has been more important to me than safety. And right up there would be, any kind of environmental issue. So let me walk you through what we do. We've always had the state-of-the-art double wall, double fiberglass, fully monitored 24/7. When I say 24/7, we pay additionally to have a service that monitors any issue at all and would automatically shut down the system. We also have inside our station instant tank monitoring to identify any issue. We also, on the islands, have sumps and containment as another backup, so that if there was ever anything, whether it's even a little water, it'll shut down our system. And so I can say from our perspective, and we do annual testing, we do monthly testing, and there is no cutting corners on any safety issue in my company. And so I'm very confident that we have every protocol in line to make sure that nothing happens.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of confused, I guess, why so much was taken into making Bethany Lake and the wetlands just so beautiful. You know, they beautified it, and then you know, to see any kind of environmental damage from a gas station leak, you know, that's a big concern for me, and I know it's a big concern for many of my neighbors around here. And so I just needed to have that brought up and explained. So thank you.
I'd be
Awesome.
happy if you could reach out to me. I'd be happy to show you all the systems we do, and you know, the proof is in the pudding, and we've been there,
Mhm.
like I said, since 1986, and we're very serious about these issues. And I think this is going to be, I'll say this to anyone, there is no business in Washington County, no one, property owner, no business that has done what we've done for the environment, or would be doing what we're doing here with every inch. We hope that the folks going up to PCC Sylvan or driving around here or seeing the signage that we have at Woodburn, that the city allowed us, or in Beaverton, will educate some other people to join with us as the Pied Pipers toward being better stewards of the environment. Because it can't be just this property. It has to be lots of properties over the next decades.
Correct. Because we
Awesome.
are
Yep.
given lots of green space in the Portland area and suburbs. You know, all these different towns around Portland are, you know, this is when I moved here from out of state 24 years ago. This was what interested me in staying here, because I was vice president for the New Mexico Organic Growers back in the early 80s. And so to be natural was a big thing for me, and still is. And so, you know, when I came here and heard that the wetlands were really important and there was green space, and, you know, I was like, I loved it. And so to know now that I live behind the wetland here, and to know that a gas station is going up, you know, that's my first concern is leak. We never know, we never plan for a leak, you know, but
Very nice.
you know what I'm getting at is that we've got to be ready. We've got to be ready where it
Absolutely.
doesn't affect our natural land.
Absolutely.
And I'd be happy to look at those drawings if you're willing to share them.
Absolutely.
Barbara.
I don't know, because I'm very technologically challenged, but maybe you could get a hold of Mary, because Mary has or I can give you my cell and you can just call me, but call Mary and she'll get hold of you, and I'll be happy to share it with you.
Oh, that'd be
Or
great.
actually, more importantly, I'd be happy to have you down at Murray and Allen and walk you through exactly what we do, so you'll be able to see.
Nice.
Oh, that'd be great.
There you
Yes, my daughter lives close to there, and I would like to do that.
And then I'll take you up on our roof, our eco roof, and you can walk up on top of that and see all the solar panels, eco roof, and what it's going to actually look similar to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would like to be in touch and see that.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
We gotta
Thank
move.
you.
We gotta move. Thank you for that. Jeff, you're on.
Yeah, Mr. Borman, what is what level charging is that? Is that level 2 fast charging or level 3 fast charging?
Okay, I get in trouble. It's the middle one that you don't have to wait there
level 2 then.
forever. It
Okay,
is
so
not
it's not,
the,
it's not,
it's,
it's not fast charging. It's really just level 2 charging then.
well, okay. Uh, you're
Okay, that's,
talking to the
we
wrong
don't,
person.
we don't need to mince it, but yeah, fast, when people refer to fast charging electric cars, it's level 3, which is the large DC charger. So you have level 2 chargers. That's the 220 standard charging. It's not, that's not fast.
Ours does. We've had so many upgrades that, and it changes so much
It doesn't
that,
change that much. There's only level 1, 2, and 3, so it doesn't
well,
really change.
we have had on the system. Remember, I've been there since 11, and we've had at least 3 upgrades at Marine Island since 11, and down in Woodburn we've had 2. So that's another thing. I just have to take your advisement. I'll assume it's 2. I know it's not the fastest. I know that it's not the fastest.
That's great. And then the other thing is, when you develop these stations, I mean, there is a there is a prediction of peak oil demand probably by 2030, 2 or 5, and maybe sooner in the Northwest. You know, how are these? How are you? Why are you building out fuel stations that eventually really are just going to be obsolete when California and the West Coast is going to say no internal combustion engines can be registered by a certain date?
I'm not saying that that's not going to occur. I believe that whether maybe the dispensers come out, maybe the canopy stays, certainly the building's going to be able to stay. We're building it for the future, whether it's, that building is going to be, and the same thing with my Marine Island building, same thing with Woodburn. We're providing a service now. We believe it's needed now. And we will go. We'll go with where the market takes us in the future. But what we're building here and what we're doing here is sustainable for sustainable. Certainly, the building is, and the layout, and how the property is designed.
Thank you. I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
All right. Mary, I saw in chat. Did you mean to send that to everybody, or just the panelists? Okay. Anyway,
Just send it to everybody. Did it only go to panelists?
only went to panelists, so you gotta pull down menu there. But okay. All right. We got a couple minutes left. So I see a couple raised hands. Barbara, I'm assuming you're not. So quick as we can here. So Nisha, you're on. You can unmute and speak, please, if you'd like.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yep, we got you.
Great. So for the owner, I have 2 different questions. One is I am an engineer, and so my job is to work on systems, and a lot of times we plan for systems to eventually fail. All businesses will have some kind of event that will cause them to shut down. Either business model doesn't work anymore. In this case, auto manufacturers are moving towards EVs. This area is already very dense with EVs. So gas stations are not going to be around forever. Unfortunately, when gas stations shut down, there's no regulation saying that the owners have to clean up the gas stations. So my concern is when gas is eventually not needed, what is the owner's plan for cleaning up the waste when the station has to shut down? And then the second question to your filtration plan, you can have the best monitors, you can have the best sensors, they will also eventually fail. What is your plan for eventually when some amount of runoff gets into the lake? How are you planning for the contingency when waste ends up in the lake? Hopefully that's not a irreversible thing, but what is your plan for when that happens? So if you could answer those 2 questions, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I'm not sure where you've heard that somehow the owners of properties are not responsible for environmental damage, no matter when it's discovered years later. If that was the case, oil companies would have sold their properties to, or different people, just gone out and walked away. You cannot walk away from environmental damage that you cause. You have to be in our state, you have to have bonds, insurance, and it has to be live and active, or you get shut down by the DEQ. If you have an environmental, let's say there was an environmental assessment done, stage 1, stage 2, or whatever, you must report. We're mandatory reporters. If you don't report, you get shut down and they can close you down, and then they're going to come after you with your bond. So, and in states like the state of California, there's a tax put on each gallon to do any kind of cleanup. In this state, we have to put in $1 million worth of pollution liability insurance. Our company has significantly more than that. As far as I don't know about other people. All I can say is about us. When we find that something is, needing any kind of repair, we repair it. We're on our systems every single day. We haven't had a leak or a significant issue at all. And we've been in every, and I also take umbrage with every place is an environmental. My Cornelius station, there's groundwater 6 feet underneath the ground. I don't want that groundwater to be polluted and go into Hag Lake, going down the Tualatin River. In Woodburn, I'm on an aquifer. We don't want to have damage there. So we take it. Like I said, my employees come first. The safety of my employees are right up there. No one wants anything to happen to the employees. And right up there is being great environmental stewards with our entire property. And I'd be happy to show you as an engineer what we do over. I could have several of you over there and bring you through the systems that we have. These are not insignificant systems. These are not just, oh, let's put it in and forget it. No, these are every single day issues that we take seriously.
Nice. I was just trying to throw up a diagram here too for some of the filings. With a minute left here, I'll just make a statement here, and then I'll try and get the last couple of comments in. But I think, like Mary stated, right, there's a couple compliance things here that go in. This is from some of the filings that were linked to in our CPO notice. You can see the details here of the plans for the site. Of course, your comments and your questions are always welcome in chat. And then, of course, you're welcome to contact the CPO leaders, or you're certainly welcome to write any county officials as well. And we're happy to connect you however you'd like. That being said, okay, I see a couple. So Nisha, hopefully that gave you some, oh, there's a baby. Gave you some answers there. And I see SH and Richard. SH, go ahead, you're on. Quick thought, we're right at time.
All right. So if this is such a
Hello?
Are you still there? You're muted.
Hello?
There we go.
Hello?
Yes, you're back. We got you.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm wondering, if it's such a great thing, how come you have not done this in Lake Oswego where you live? So you can see it every day and get all the benefits from it yourself. I'm just wondering why you've decided to put it right here. And when there's so many other places you could go, and you live on a lake, why don't you put it near the lake?
Quick reaction.
I don't know how to answer that.
All right. Quick reaction, quick question, quick response. Okay. The only other person I think we haven't got to is Richard. Just 1 minute over. you're on. You can unmute.
Don't know how to answer that.
Hello.
Richard, we hear you. Yep.
Okay, good. Thank you. Mr. Barman, thank you for the opportunity for my question. How much fuel do you hope to move through your site per month or year in gallons?
The average Chevron will do about 125,000 gallons a month. And this is a Chevron. So it'll be somewhere there, somewhere around there.
Okay, Mr. Barman, you do have a lovely facility that is very environmentally conscious, it appears, but your underlying product will emit, by basic math, 30 million pounds of CO2 with normal sales. With climate change being one of the greatest things that humanity will face and is currently affecting us, fires, severe weather, and other things, how do you square that with your supposed environmental beliefs, sir? Why can't you use the property for something more environmentally friendly as its base mechanism?
Quick question, quick response.
I am very proud of what we're doing. I've been proud of it since 1986. We are going to have, I am not doubting that there's going to be change. There has been change. We have been part of the change, and we hope to be part of the future change.
Fair enough. Okay, we are out of time. Please reach out, get in touch. Several people have answered or offered their contact information here. Thank you very much. I believe, Mary, that's the last agenda item. Is that right?
No. We need to talk about
That's right. We have elections.
officer elections.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for everybody. I really appreciate not an easy topic at all, but hopefully some people have been generous with their time. Hopefully got some good questions answered that you wouldn't have otherwise. Thank you, Bob, for your time and attention here. So very much appreciated. So we're going to roll into we got to keep the CPO 7 going. There's some logistics that we need to discuss. So rolling onward. Mary.
Essentially, all we need to do is we are opening nominations at this point, and if anybody's interested in serving on steering committee, let us know, because we are going to have elections next month during our meeting, and we are always willing to have someone else step in to take over and help with leadership. Extra hands, extra bodies mean the amount of work that we have can be spread over many more people. So, don't let having a baby at home stop you from serving, because it's doable.
Somehow. Very good. So Mary, do we need to take any nominations, or is it just contact at this point?
Well, certainly if somebody wants to self-nominate, and I see some hands up, but I think they may be left over from earlier, but maybe not.
Well.
I don't know. Do you want to check with those
Nisha
people?
and Richard, if you have a question about CPO 7 logistics, keep your hand up. Otherwise, Richard. Sorry, go ahead.
This is Jeff Petrillo.
Hey, Jeff.
I'm a standing steering committee member, and I'm going to self-nominate myself for another term as a standing member, not a designated or specialized member.
Understood. And despite the baby, I will put myself in for standing member and chair just in case we need to fill it. So, yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. And to your wife.
Yeah. So Richard's hand is still up. Is Richard wanting to
He is unmuted. He's welcome to talk.
I am?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Whether you meant to or not, I don't know. But
I didn't realize I was unmuted. My apologies.
No worries.
Just actually a little curious about the steering committee itself. Can you refer me somewhere with more information or give me a quick rundown on what rights, responsibilities, that kind of thing?
I can tell you as a fairly new member, it's pretty easy, and you're in the right place because we just roll into the steering committee meeting right after the main meeting here usually. So, yeah, you're welcome to ask. Or Mary, I don't know if there's information anywhere, but
I think one of the things that I feel is a pretty important piece of being on the steering committee is that you agree to attend our meetings on a regular basis. We meet once a month. We try to have our general meeting, hold it to an hour with the steering committee meeting immediately following. We are the ones that set the agenda and get to decide, what we're going to spend the meeting doing. And quite often, if there's, a special project or something they're particularly interested in, whether it's trees or traffic or red light cameras on 185th or, whatever issue is one that's poking you, we always make room for people that want to take on a special project too. Does that help?
We've got Kevin who's doing the West Side Trail all by his lonesome pretty much, and yeah, the special topics, absolutely. Yeah.
Does that help, Richard?
Kind of. I'm just kind of trying to figure out where you guys fit in the kind of city, county, local, unmaintained, whatever we are.
Well, we are kind of the only voice for urban unincorporated. We have the ability to reach out to our commissioners and our other electeds, but there's a lot that goes on that we don't really have city level staff services that. So, even something as simple as getting a park and ride lot from TriMet. We don't have a city rep to provide that service for us.
So we end up doing a lot of correspondence and letters, and actually just last meeting we stamped a letter recommending a community perspective on some of the road improvements that the county's debating, and we're able to offer sort of like a councilman. I don't know what the equivalent would be, but like here's what the community feels would be the best, and it goes off, and we can usually make links to the right people and talk to the right people, bring the right people here. Like we actually got the county to do a public, what's called a PAC, right? So like something where they expanded the participation in the early planning stage of something, just because we had a community felt that there was an interest there. So it's really, it seems like it's largely you join and it's up to your interest, like where and what pieces you'd like to bring in here, and we're always looking for agenda items. Always looking for help as well. So yeah, thanks. Of course, thanks for your interest.
Thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you at another meeting.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for coming.
So do you need a motion to adjourn?
I need a motion to adjourn, and then I'll probably need to turn over the steering committee to you. If
okay,
like,
yeah,
if you don't
yeah.
mind.
Looks like August is done.
He didn't do too bad. I mean,
no,
he's good.
You both seem to do pretty well. So I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I'll second.
And I guess raise your hand if there's any objections.
Nope, and I will stop recording, I think, as well. And I'll try and figure out what to do with the recording too.
Okay.